What's going on, traders? We got a lot to talk about, so let's get straight into it. So, in the last video, we were talking about a potential election rally, right? Where we see the market pretty much bounce to the upside or have some type of dead cap bounce to the upside and pretty much have what we traders call a liquidity grab. And before that rally happens, I was talking about more downside, which we did see today. We didn't see anything crazy, but we did see some downside today. We saw more downside than upside. And so we're looking at the triple Q's 4 hour time frame. And just to give you guys a better idea, just in case you're new to the YouTube channel, we're looking at this area up here in regards to a liquidity grab. And so if you're new to that term or you just never heard of that term before, just to put it simple, anytime the market rallies to the upside or even to the downside, and you don't see any type of structure, you leave like this void open. So right here, you just see this huge void. There's just an empty space here. And so at some point in time, I do imagine that at least the triple Qs will want to revisit this area and clear this space out, which we call a liquidity grab, right? And it's all a matter of when that would happen. It can happen tomorrow. It can happen the next day. We do have elections tomorrow, and we have Jerome Powell speaking the next day, I believe. So it could happen around that time. But before that happens, I am looking at more downside. I do think we have the potential to see more downside. So, what are we looking at in regards to that downside? Well, your key levels that you want to look at here on the triple Qs is 485 and 484. 485 being your psych level, and 484 is being your level of support that you really want to see break down if you're bearish. And then after that, I'm looking at a move to 480, and then the lowest I'm looking at least for now, is 477. In regards to upside, you want to see a break above 489.4, and 490 will be your psych level. But what I'm really going to be looking for, and I encourage you to do the same, is a break back into this rising wedge. If we break back into this rising wedge, then there's a good chance. I mean, there's more than likely a chance that we're just going to head back up to that 496, 498 range, possibly even retest 500. Now, why do I talk about the 496 and 498 range? Simply because we have a gap on the daily time frame that needs to be filled. We just that's all I got for that. Okay, so we do have a gap that's open at around 496 that does need to be filled. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that has to be filled right away or it has to be filled this week, but I do imagine the market sometime this year will want to pretty much fill this area out before we potentially see, I guess, for lack of better wording, a correction or a crash or something like that, right? So if this is the move that I'm looking for right now, where we head further down, possibly to 477. Again, watch for those key levels that we spoke about, and then potentially head back up here, clear this area out, fill this void, liquidity grab, whatever you want to call it, and then possibly head further down. Now, is there potential for newer highs? You guys know that my all-time high target is 505, 510, and given the space that we do have in regards to this rising wedge, we do have a potential room to at least 503.5, 505. I will say that much. So yes, all-time high targets or newer high targets are on the table in regards to this rally. And that's pretty much all I can pretty much see right now in regards to upside. Maybe a move to 503.5, 505 is on the table. Highs I'm looking at is about 510, but we'll have to talk about that once we get there or once we get some type of confirmation that we're going to see that type of movement. And so we go back to the 4 hour time frame. And again, the main thing that I'm looking at in regards to upside, it's just a break back into this rising wedge. I just want to make that clear. I want to reiterate that. And once we break back into this rising wedge, there's a good chance that we're heading back to that gap fill at around 496. And then after that, we'll have to see what happens from there. In regards to downside, you want to see a break up below 485, your psych level, and then 484. If we just so happen, for whatever reason, not to break below that level and potentially bounce from here, then we are, I guess, looking at somewhat of a potential double bottom. So you will have a bottom here, another bottom here, and then your neckline will be at around 489.4, 490. So there is potential for a bounce from just this point right here, and we just head straight up. So that is a possibility. Am I counting on it? No, but it's very much a possibility. So I won't, rule that out. Okay. So next we're going to look at the SPY. The SPY, you're essentially looking at the same thing. The SPY, I told you guys, as long as the SPY stays below 573, there's a good chance you're heading to 565. And we got pretty close. I think we got as low as about 567. So right now we're just pretty much trading in this range on the SPY. We're on the 4 hour time frame. And so again, just like I said in the triple Qs, there is potential for a double bottom here. You will have a somewhat of a bottom here, and then you will have another bottom here. Now, what do we know about double bottoms? We know that double bottoms are not confirmed until you break the neckline. And so our neckline will be right about here at around 575, 576. That's what you want to look out for, in regards to a potential breakout or actually confirming this double bottom. And so again, just like I said with the triple Qs, you're looking at a huge void right here that needs to be pretty much, I would say, mitigated or filled, right? And this is what we call a liquidity grab, where you leave this huge void open with no type of structure or anything like that. You're just heading straight down. And at some point, the market is going to want to revisit this area and clear this area out. So this is why I think there is potential for a rally in the near future. I think whatever downside we do get is going to be short lived, or I wouldn't say short lived, but very fast. Very volatile. Where if we do get more downside, I'm looking at a move towards at least, I would say, 565, and then the lowest I'm looking at is about 560, at least for now. And then after that, I'm looking at a potentially a bounce from there where we start heading back up to this area. Maybe, I don't know, the Santa rally, or maybe after elections, we see this move happen and we start heading back up here and pretty much clear this area out. So that's what I'm looking for. So if we just so happen to break further down tomorrow prior to the actual elections, then that is the move I'm looking for. But if we start seeing a bounce like almost immediately tomorrow, I would say that's kind of a bad sign. If we start doing this like right away tomorrow, just heading into the elections, I would say that's a bad sign. That's just me. I could be wrong. We start forming this double bottom. We start confirming the double bottom. And then we clear this area out before elections even happen. Then I think we're looking at downside after that. Okay, so if you're bullish, your hopes will be that we just break down immediately, and then elections come, and then we start heading back up and clear this area out, and pretty much enjoy the rally. So that's your hopes. If you're bullish. If you're bearish, then you just, I would say, you win either way. All right. That's just my thoughts on it. Okay. So next we're looking at the NQ. And so NQ, interesting enough, NQ is still trading within this rising wedge, which is pretty. I would say if you're bearish, this is pretty annoying. I will say that much. And this is why I say pay attention to both the futures and the ETFs, because one or the other is going to tell you if you're looking at a trap. And so right now, the fact that the NQ is still trading within this rising wedge, and the triple Qs is breaking the lowest rising wedge, is pretty much letting you know to be cautious. Okay, it's pretty much letting you know to be cautious, because let me actually check the 4 hour. Yeah, we're still within the rising wedge. So really, really be cautious here, because at any given moment, it doesn't necessarily mean the NQ has to break down. We could just bounce up from here. So a lot of things are pointing to upside right now. Again, I'm not counting on it. I'm going to stick to my guns. But if we do see upside, like right away before we break below this rising wedge, I would say that just spells disaster for the future. Um, before for the next month or so in the market. If we just fail to break below this rising wedge right away and we just start bouncing up almost immediately, that's great. In regards to a rally and a bull run, we clear this area out. That's great. But after that, then we're looking at a massive breakdown. Okay, a massive breakdown. So I will say, pay attention to that. Again, the triple Qs is below his rising wedge, but the NQ is not, and they're essentially the same thing. So that's what I'm looking at in regards to NQ. All right. So if NQ, oh, let me talk about the levels real quick. So NQ needs to break above about 20,212, somewhere around that range. After that, you're looking at a move to 20,400, 20,420, give or take. And then after that, you're pretty much in this liquid zone, and there's very much potential for you to head towards 20,900. We'll talk about that if we ever get there. All right. So next, I want to talk about. I'm not going to go too deep into the ES. I mean, it's not much to go over, but I will talk about the US 100. And so the US 100 is below 20K, and it's not too far off from 20K. I mean, it's slightly below it, but this is a telling sign that we could be looking at downside. So the market is playing a lot of mind games right now. But again, we have another rising wedge pattern. You rejected here, you rejected here, you rejected here. You bounced here, you bounced here. So you guys know I'm not making this stuff up. And then you broke below the rising wedge. And so we zoom in, and as you guys can see, we're below this key level at around 20,000, 24, 20,000, 20, give or take. And so Bulls are really, really strong in this area. I will say that much. They're really trying to push this thing up and keep this thing going. But what I will say is the fact that we broke this small trend here right about here. And right now we are currently rejecting it. We're not only rejecting it, but we're rejecting this that level I was just talking about at the 20,000, 20,023 range. Okay. So if we continue to break down, then we could be looking at a move as low as 19,400, 19,300 on the US 100. Okay. That's a huge move. That's a bigger move than what the SPY is going to make. If the SPY hits 565, you're looking at a much lower move than what the US than what than that. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out the right wording to say this. So you're looking at a bigger move to the downside on the SPY if the US 100 does this. Okay, if the US 100 heads towards 19,400, 19,300. You're looking at a much lower move than 565 on the SPY, or even I would say 477 on the triple Q. So definitely pay attention to this. A lot of mixed signals right now, but definitely pay attention to the US 100. It can really give you an idea on where the overall market is going to head. And so next we look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is pretty much breaking back below this trend right here. I'm looking at a move towards if Bitcoin gives up 66,200, then it's heading towards 65K. And then after 65K, you're pretty much you're close to free falling. I will say that much. And this is what I'm talking about right here. At some point in time, Bitcoin needs to get back down here. Okay. This is a very illiquid area. Remember what I was talking about in regards to that rally to the upside on the triple Qs and the SPY. This is another example right here. Very illiquid area. There's no structure here. You have structure all the way down here, but in this area, you just have nothing but candles going up. And so at some point in time, Bitcoin is going to need to clear out this area. Um, do a liquidity grab, and then we can possibly see upside from there. But we'll have to see. So for now, I will pay attention to 66,000. 66 was the 66 about 66,300, give or take, and then you're looking at a move further down towards 65K, 64,900, and then after that, you're pretty much in this very liquid area, and you're dropping very fast. All right, so that's what I'm looking at in regards to Bitcoin. Next, I want to look at IWM, the Russell. So, pretty bearish on IWM. I have no reason to be bullish on this thing. I think this thing is going to continue to drop. One thing about the IWM is that it doesn't really make any moves without the market. So this could be a sign that, or the IWM could be giving a sign that the market is going to drop. I mean, it's clear as day. And if you need more of a reason to believe that this thing is going to drop, we look at quant data here. And as you guys can see, November 15th, you have 210 puts coming in. You have a 3.78 million premium coming in for this trade. You have another 210 put coming in for November 15th, another 210 put, both with a premium of 940K. So a lot of puts coming in for the IWM. You have another put coming in for the 210 strike November 15th, 829K. I mean, very, very bearish on this thing. Whales are extremely bearish on this thing. I mean, even our Discord bot has been alerting puts on this thing like back to back nonstop. You're seeing 12 puts, 217 puts, 215 puts. So this could be a sign that the IWM is pretty much warning that the market is going to see another drop because the IWM cannot make that move unless some wild, crazy news happens. But otherwise, the Russell cannot make that move without the market dropping with it. So I do imagine that whatever whales are seeing or are seeing that's seeing coming or whatever the case may be, whatever the whales are seeing it's probably bad. I don't know if it's going to be because of whoever gets voted or Jerome Powell rate cuts, whatever the case may be. Something bad seems to be coming, just based off those trades alone. If you want access to information like this, link is in the description below. If you want to see how I'm going to trade things like this, we're already in the IWM trades. We have been averaging in for like a month on this thing at around 225. So far, pretty deep in profit. But yeah, I think this thing is going to head lower. My target right now is about 212, and then lowest I'm looking at is about 207. So we'll see. But right now, IWM just doesn't look good. It looks bearish. It keeps trying to get back above 21.8 was it no 20 220.8, and after today it just keeps rejecting this level, and I think it's just going to continue to head lower, which is a tall tale sign that the market could be looking at a move further down. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at in regards to the Russell. And so I want to look at SPX, SPX, SPY, whatever you want to call it, S&P 500 index. You're looking at a break. You want to see a break below 5,702, 5,700. After that, you are dropping. Okay, you're dropping pretty hard. So I'm looking at a move. If we do break below that level, I'm looking at a move towards 5,630, and then from there we'll have to see what happens. And so that's what I'm really looking at in the overall market. I do expect more downside. I think we're going to see more downside just based on the things that we're seeing in regards to the Russell, the US 100. They all point to potential downside. If we do see upside, I think it's going to be short lived. But after the drop, okay, after the drop, I do think we're going to get a massive rally. Okay, now I could be wrong in the timing of these things, where maybe we get the rally first and then the drop. That's very much possible. But right now, I'm looking at more so of a drop. Your key levels, pay attention to the key levels that I mentioned in the video. If you want to watch the SPX, feel free to do so. You just want to watch that 5,700 range. If you want to watch the triple Qs, you just want to watch 484, 485. If you want to watch the SPY, as long as it stays below 573, you're pretty much bearish. You're looking at a move to 565. So those are the key levels that you want to look out for in regards to the overall market. And so that's all I have. If you want to know how I'm going to trade these, or if we're going to trade these, how I'm going to trade the election, if I'm going to trade the election, if I'm going to invest into anything in regards to the election. Discord link is in the description below. We also have a free Discord as well. We don't really alert trades in there. It's just more so of a talking session where we talk about what we trade. We talk about the market. We joke. We have conversations and things like that. So if you want to join that Discord, it's completely free. That link will be in the description below as well. If you want actual trades and things like that, then that link will be in the description below as well. Other than that, that's all I have, traders. If you disagree, feel free to comment your thoughts below. If you do agree, let me know as well. Until the next video, traders, have a good one.